And welcome back, everybody, once again to Monumenta. I am TJ the Obscure here with you, and we are still doing this voiceover of me making my way through the yellow dungeon with the timer ticking down. The server's going to be reset any minute now, and I have to try to finish up as fast as possible, which I'm not very good at doing. I just kind of do a lot of things that I probably shouldn't have done. Taking my sweet time. So, last episode, I think we left off with me finding that mycelium area, and I don't know if I ever actually go back there, but we had decided to head in this direction instead, and it's a very large room, vertical room with staircases and lots of spawners, lots of skellies especially, which can prove rather problematic in areas such as this. But I'm just trying to take it on spawner by spawner, so that I don't end up getting shot off and fall into a bunch of charged creepers or anything. Usually I love areas like this with the walkways and the vertical dungeon and whatnot, but I think whenever I walked into this room, I was just like, man, man, just keeps going. I thought for sure that the mycelium area was going to be where we wanted to be. Anyways, I am, yes, slowly making my way down, block by block, and just trying to take out those spawners. And I'm being very cautious, largely because I don't really know what's below me. Goodbye, Mr. Skeleton. And the room just seems to be filled with spawners. Everywhere I look, there's a spawner. And I cut out a lot of footage of me just killing things with my bow, just because that can get kind of boring. But you can see that there's a lot going on downstairs. Oh my gosh, I almost jumped right into that hole. That would have been pretty funny. I'm just so thankful that the archers did not have punch on their bows. Made it much easier. And I'm also very thankful that I actually have some feather falling. These pants, whenever I first found them in the light blue dungeon, I was thinking they're not that great. It's projectile protection, which is something that I tend to not use very much. Mainly, I think, because for the longest time, everything but protection was not very valuable. But they have like Unbreaking 5, Feather Falling, and Projectile Protection, so they're actually a pretty decent pair of pants. I think they're the Boreas Screeves, is what they're called. And see, stuff like that probably wasn't necessary, breaking the staircase and whatnot, but I was paranoid about things tracking me while I was firing downstairs and potentially knocking me off into the darkness below. So instead I just decided to jump right into the darkness. And once again, cut out a lot of me just taking things out from a distance. Mr. Guardian Archer can die. I haven't been on the server in a while. From what I understand, they've upgraded the server, the hardware that they use, and I haven't been on to check to see if the performance is any better, although the performance wasn't that bad to begin with. I would rarely encounter lag, and I think for the most part it was on my end. Yeah, don't worry about the Guardians, guy. Just go after the spawners. A very interesting mob, I must say. I'm not sure how I feel about the charged creepers with the Guardians on their heads. They honestly didn't seem to pose that much of a threat. gravel walkway, so I'm just like, yep, this is probably going to be trapped. That is odd to me, and I remember encountering that in the pigmen part of the yellow dungeon with the falling sand. I'm guessing it has something to do with server lag, but it looks cool to see it fall all slowly like that. So just lots of skellies on the side, but I decided not to mess with those spawners and to just head down so that we can make progress. And honestly, it's so dark I can't even see what the heck I'm doing right now. There we go. Yeah, put some light down, guy. That's helpful for everybody. Spiders can die. So yeah, they've upgraded the server, and I think they're mainly working on the second region at this point, because all of the dungeons have been released, and I know that they've worked out a lot of the bugs and things that needed to be fixed. So I think their main focus right now is on developing Region 2, which I'm definitely looking forward to. Going to be able to progress beyond the monument itself, which I think that once I get that, you know, we'll need to place all the wool on the monument, and that's how we end up progressing. Although I'm not sure if we want to do that right now, or if it's not functional yet. Seemed like a kind of odd design choice here to have this just this hole in the wall with no path up to it. But as soon as I see those zombie guys and the blaze, I realize that we're in the area with the boss spawner. So my main goal at this point is to just clear out the room so that the boss and I can have a proper battle. I said this in the last video, but I'm just going to repeat it, that I was not really a fan of the boss battles, and just I'm not a fan of boss battles in Minecraft in general. I think they're really hard to pull off. The only time that I think I've ever really semi-enjoyed a boss battle was in Ragecraft 3, and even then many of them were just kind of annoying, tedious, frustrating, buggy, and it's just you know, I want to say the game is just not made for boss battles, but on the other hand, I don't want to discourage people from continuing to experiment, because you never know, eventually we might end up getting a decent boss. And got knocked off, but I make my way back up, and I still haven't seen the boss at this point. I thought they would spawn right away, but as far as I can tell, the boss just hasn't spawned yet. I'm not really sure what that's about. Dodge all of the creepers. More of these libraries. And I don't know if this was the best place for one of them, and you'll see why here in a second. Such powerful mobs. Take forever to kill. And again, I'm just trying to clear things out. I know that the blaze and the zombies are going to continue to spawn from the boss spawner, but I wanted to have a decent area to be able to fight the boss in. So he finally shows up. He's an archer. He's also carrying a diamond sword. So and they do have the capability of having mobs switch between melee and ranged attacks, although I'm not sure if this boss is capable of doing so. So at this point, I was just trying to figure out, okay, how do I want to do this? Oh no, at this point I'm thinking there's still another spawner over there that I need to take out before I go out and actually fight him. So I just tried to back him up a little bit so that I would be able to run over there and take out the spawner. And then, of course, more mobs spawn. And yeah, I have to focus on them. while running and jumping around and trying to get the occasional shot off on the boss. I don't know. I wish that it was just the boss and not all these other mobs as well, but I guess it kind of makes sense. It keeps things exciting, you know, makes it more difficult for the player to simply camp the boss mob. I mean, it would be really easy to just block off right now and shoot them from a distance, and that's one of the reasons why boss mobs just don't work, at least in survival and adventure. You know, they where the player doesn't have the ability to break blocks and whatnot, they can be, you know, the map maker has a lot more control over stuff. But yeah, they don't work for me. Not a big fan. And you can see here that something was going on with their AI. I'm not sure why, but they started to believe that they could walk through bookshelves, that they could pass through physical objects or something, because they're just over there hiding behind the bookshelves. And I think, you know, part of me, I was kind of conflicted. I wanted to fight the boss in a way that was exciting, but I also just wanted to get it over with as fast as possible, because again, the clock is just ticking away. And stupid flame bow. But we take him out. I managed to retrieve the head, and then we. You know, what I should have done at this point is just headed straight back out of this area. But I was like, no, there's more darkness over here. Let's head over here and investigate and see what we can't find. So there's one last room that we need to check out. You know, I know that all I'm gonna find is loot. So, but it's part of just, you know, me wanting to kind of conquer an area, take everything out, destroy all the things. And this room ended up being rather easy, really big, wide open room. And in those cases, what, you know, a good strategy is to run around a lot, set off all the spawners, get all the mobs to track you, and then you can take them all out in one big group. Ooh, that creeper snuck up on me. But you know, and that way you can go around afterwards and take out all the spawners one by one without too much resistance. That time we managed to get it. And we have one more creeper hole that we need to block off. I think there might be another creeper hole there. And one spawner down. One spider down. And destroy all the things. And we have pretty much managed to take out everything in the room that needs to be taken out. And I go over to open up this chest, and I hear this creeper start to drown, and I'm like, whoa, where the heck is that coming from? It scared the crap out of me, and I still wasn't entirely sure where the creeper was drowning. He may have been in that water stream right behind me. I'm not entirely sure. So at this point, I have to go back to the first boss battle down this hole, because I had stored the head in my ender chest, and it ended up getting deleted from my ender chest because you can't take them out of the dungeon. So I go back, and I of course have to wait for the boss to spawn. And I wasn't entirely sure if light affected the spawns or not. I assumed it does. So I start taking out torches. I think maybe it's still too light, so I take out one more, and that triggers the boss spawn. So again, I want to try to take him on in an exciting way, so I draw him out, and he gets stuck behind a tree. It's just, I mean, Minecraft AI has always been kind of buggy, but since like 1.9, 1.10, things seem to have gotten worse. And I draw him out on the bridge, and then he falls off the bridge. Like, really, guy? Really? I'm trying to duel you, to have a real fight here, and you're running into trees and falling off bridges and just, generally speaking, acting really, really derpy. Speaking of derpy, I missed that jump there, and I fell right into the water. And I was a little paranoid about there being creeper holes down here. But we managed to kill him, and that is the fourth and final head, so I head back to the monument to place all of them. Gray Skull's head has been placed. I don't know whose head that is. I can't read it. Somebody's Exian's head, which reminds me of Exil from Terra Restore. Head number 3, head number 4, and magic spell has been broken. I was really hoping that that was going to be it. That this was simply going to be a path to the wool room. Oh gosh. Surprise mushroom head dropping in on me. And of course I'm very greedy, so I go to check out the chest, see if I missed anything. But as soon as we break through the door, I realize that that's not going to be the case, that we still have another area left to go, maybe more. It's an ice-themed area. I swear, they had like a little bit of everything. They had the kind of red sandy area. They had the water dungeon with the mossy cobble area. They had the lava area with the pigmen, and then they had an ice area as well, just like playing through the 4 seasons. And that charge creeper scared me a little bit, so I retreat and destroy. I'm just thankful they can't do those snow traps anymore. Although I do think those made for some of the best traps in Minecraft. It's kind of sad that they got rid of that. At least as far as I know, you can't do the snow traps anymore. Igloos. There's spawners in the water. And these fast Eskimo dudes. It looks like we have paths on either side. Run and jump and destroy. I think that's the first time I encounter these skeleton guys that move really, really slow. And don't really pose much of a threat as long as you don't get trapped by them. And they're very tanky. Very tanky, take a long time to kill. In fact, it's not even worth trying to kill them, I don't think. And I was trying to move as fast as possible. Ooh, surprise creeper. I forget what time it is at this point. I want to say it's probably about 11:30. And they said that the reset was going to happen about 1 a.m., I think. And again, I didn't know how much was left in the dungeon. run and jump. And destroy. I thought those Eskimo guys would hit a lot harder than they did. I think he only did like half a heart or 1 heart to me. There's a failed jump, but I have to say the block placement on that torch was pretty impressive. It's not always easy to do. So I poke my head in there and I see all the mobs and I'm just like, okay, we're gonna come back to that. And again, this is another good strategy is, you know, if you feel yourself starting to get bogged down in an area, feel free to retreat and move somewhere else. And that way mobs can despawn and you can come back to a much calmer area and actually have a chance to get at some of the spawners. Water area with highly explosive creepers in it. And a chest with water gear. So I know at this point that we're going to be heading into the water eventually. I wasn't sure if it was necessary, if that was the path to the wool or not. But I knew that it was coming, and I was not looking forward to it because I'm not a fan of underwater areas, especially when I can't take off my boots to put on some depth strider. I've considered killing myself just to take off these boots so many times. just kill me now so I can rid myself of these evil shoes. Just light up around the outside and jump up to the top. It's always easier to take on dungeons from the top down. Well, I won't say always, but most of the time it's the better option. Let these skeletons fight amongst themselves and take out the charge creepers, who actually seem pretty tanky themselves. It's 4 shots with a power 1 bow. Another impressive jump there. Just barely jumped right over his head. So I try to make my way down the ladder into this building, and you can see there that it's a little hectic. So I try to staircase down to get a better angle so that I can see what's going on. And I really should have followed my own advice here, because I really get bogged down with mobs, and it took forever to actually make my way into this building. And came very close to getting blown up by a charge creeper a couple of times here. But there's a charge creeper spawner underneath the carpet right there, and that's what I'm trying to go after at this point. But it would have been much smarter, I think, for me to have just left and gone back to the other side of the area, and then, you know, essentially switch back and forth. I was so happy about destroying that one, and yet I still spent another 10 minutes or whatever just sitting around trying to actually make some progress into this building so that we can light things up. And those guys seem way too slow. I mean, at first I was like running away from them, and I was like, why am I running away from them? I can like walk around them. That's how slow they are. And yet again, we are met by numerous mobs, and I try to escape, and we get stuck in the trap. I thought for sure I was a goner there with that big group of mobs behind me. But thankfully we managed to escape. And yeah, at this point I head back to the other building. I think I was hoping that that we did not have to go down to the water, and that this path would lead me to the wool. But I quickly take out the spawners and realize that that is not the case. That indeed it looks like we're headed down into the deep end with the highly explosive creepers. I mean, they're pretty strong. Grab the loot, destroy the spawner, and we're gonna go ahead and grab one of the helmets over here for the respiration, so that we can actually see underwater. Some night vision would have been helpful here too, I think. But no depth strider, so we're gonna be moving very slowly. And again, I was just very upset at this point. I think I was just like sighing to myself. I'd started to kind of tear up, like cry, like, why map makers, why devs are you doing this to me? More underwater charge creeper areas, just like Magenta. So I see it, and I see how the mobs function. They seem to just explode after a certain time limit with some delayed fuses. So I wait for more of them to come up before heading down to try to grab the chest and disable the spawners. And I thought for sure, oh, I'm dead. Definitely dead. But somehow I managed to survive that. I'm not entirely sure how. Block it off, go for the chest. I hear more of them coming. And boom, they blow up the chest. And I'm just like, whoa, wait, what? So there's no point in even going after those chests, because as far as I know, there's no way to really stop that. I guess you could use sponges to get rid of all the water or something, but if they're just going to blow up, I'm not sure if it's simply based on time or proximity or what, but that seemed like a really poor design choice, unless the player just isn't intended to get any of those chests and they're simply there to troll the player. So along with the charge creepers, we have guardians, and I'm just trying to slowly make my way through while figuring out where to go next. And while avoiding all of the very dangerous creepers. And I waste my time trying to take out some of the guardians too. I'm not sure if the arrow functionality in waters is an intended thing, because you used to be able to fire arrows underwater. You can no longer really do that unless you're very close. I'm guessing with how long it's been in the game now that it is intended, that Mojang just doesn't want you to be able to use your bow underwater. If not, it's a really annoying bug that needs to be fixed like ASAP. It's just another reason why underwater play is super frustrating. So yeah, just making my way through the area, and I'm not entirely sure where to go at this point. There doesn't seem to be a clear path, a clear indication of which way to go. Creepers seem to do a lot of damage even from a good distance away, which is why I'm still kind of surprised that I survived that one blast that was so close. I guess it was just that I had blocks protecting me. I'm starting to think that the way forward is actually down one of these creeper holes, but again, I'm not entirely sure. And visibility wasn't that great, so it was kind of hard to see where to go. breathe, and then panic because the timer's counting down and I don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going. And I think it's about this time that uh, that the come on, you can do it, guy. You're almost there. Oh, and that's the time that the server goes down. I'm not entirely sure how close I was to finishing the dungeon, but what that meant right there is that they shut down the server to reset it, and all dungeon instances get reset. So all the progress that I had made in the yellow dungeon was erased at that point. And after spending hours upon hours in the dungeon, only to have it end like that, I was pretty disappointed, you know. And I had started playing the dungeon I think on a Sunday, and this was Friday night. So I had had the whole week to get through it, and just wasn't able to do so. I know that if I go back and do the dungeon again, I could easily get through it, probably in just a few hours by rushing the bosses themselves. But I've kind of lost motivation to do so, at least right now. Like I said, I haven't been on the server since this happened, pretty much. I do plan on going back to replay it, I think, eventually. But it just kind of it was pretty frustrating, especially again. I don't know how close I was, but I assume that I was really close to the end. In which case, it just makes it that much more frustrating. Anyways, you guys, I guess that's gonna be it from me for today. Sorry about the voiceover stuff. Hopefully, it was still enjoyable and everything. And I do plan on getting back on the server here eventually, but it may be a couple weeks or so until I have another video out. So yep, that's gonna be it for me for today. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.